And I think we've got a wiener here.
New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
Me. We don't ever do any warm-up exercises.
Unique New York.
Unique
That was what?
New York. You have to do the hand flips. I don't understand what that's actually for. Unique New York.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. What is the other one they do? I just know the thing that you're supposed to do when you're in a crowd as an extra. Peas and potatoes, peas and potatoes, peas and potatoes. And if everyone says that, it sounds like a crowd murmuring.
Whoa.
Yeah. Did you not know that?
No.
We can do this for the entire episode, and we'll just sound like an hour-long series of murmurs.
Again, better episode than
I think it could
we
be.
usually deliver.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if we run out of topics and it's like a 34-minute episode, then I think no one will be sad.
No. But we've signed on for an hour, and so the producer behind the glass over there is going to be doing the pull the string thing.
Roz?
Yeah.
Roz said that?
Yeah, and then we're going to make up stuff again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Is this in the show?
It could be.
Oh, man.
I think so. It's sponsor approved, not like
Okay.
the last 30 minutes that we had to erase. I'm Chris Nguyen, design director for a branding firm and interior consultant.
I am Kevin McCauley, a photographer and graphic designer.
Indeed.
Yes.
Well, that was fruitful, a suggestion of me to introduce ourselves and who we are and what
Yeah.
we do.
Well, I think we padded this for an extra 45 seconds.
I think we did. I think we can call that an episode. We'll stretch this out
Yeah.
into slow-mo
Mm-hmm.
for an hour.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Celsior, my 1992 Toyota Celsior, right-hand drive, Japanese domestic market Lexus LS400 has sold.
Wow.
I can't believe.
I am so surprised, except for I was here for the whole process.
You were
and
here
I-
for the
I
ride.
I shuttled you all over town.
I know.
Can we just talk about something that happened right before the show
I
record?
guess. Okay.
You presented a box of pita chips.
Yes.
Said these are amazing pita chips. You
Yeah.
offered me one.
I did.
Then closed the lid, put the box away.
Yeah, well,
Then demanded I agree.
too much of a good thing is
Of
not
course.
ideal.
Yes.
And
It was odd.
wasn't it good?
It was okay.
It's like a cigar. What am I going to give you, two? I give you one good pita chip.
Here, enjoy this dry pita chip, which I assure you is the greatest you've ever had.
Would you prefer a lubricated pita chip?
Yeah, lubricated with hummus.
Okay, well, that's a bit of that's quite an assumption of you that I would have hummus for you. I do. I was gonna offer it to you after the show. I thought you sounded better with a dry mouth, so I thought I would feed you these pretzels and pita chips with no lubrication.
Well, it's working.
Kevin, at times when he gets animated, does turn into a sprinkler fountain, and I made the mistake of putting him next to my model cars.
Oh, that's what you were referring to the black
Yes.
E34 about.
I can see the evidence
Oh,
of
no.
your enthusiasm when talking. Next to this E34 M5 model in black.
Oh, have you ordered any models?
I might have.
What are your new additions?
Oh my god! I guess we're gonna just dart all over the place here.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're keeping it loose.
I've
In
got
the
a-
words of you said we're keeping it
Oh
cash.
god. Okay.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
said call me Johnny Cash, and we're gonna keep it cash.
You choose to listen to me now and also every other time when you think I'm telling the truth. Like when I say that I'm going to be somewhere at 9 a.m. and I'm
Right.
there at like 10:30.
Yeah.
That is actually not a lie. But that's a topic for another episode. So I did order an Audi S4 B4 in
B5.
Oh, B5. Sorry. Yes. It is in. Actually, I don't even recall the color. I think it's gray.
Okay.
So it's on pre-order.
The good.
Yeah.
A4. You never buy the pre-order ones.
I know. This is the first time. So it's on pre-order directly from the manufacturer, Automobile.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's actually cheaper to order directly from them. You have to wait. That's it.
What prompted you to pre-order?
I don't know. I just wanted to try it, and there
Yeah.
wasn't anything else that I wanted to pre-order, I guess, from them. So I got that. So that's on pre-order. But I've got a couple of things that are currently pre-order, but this is all so stupid because have too many stupid model cars. This was an experiment that has gone awry.
It's off the rails.
You were looking at my
I'm sitting
dining.
next to.
Look at my dining table. We'll post a photo, but you've seen us before, likely if you've listened
There's
and
more
seen our
cars
posts.
now.
There are more cars now. But every surface of my dining table has been filled
You're
with.
gonna have to buy more magazines to stack them.
Yeah. So I said that I was gonna stop, and then I didn't,
Yeah.
and I'm continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
Just to really rub it in.
Did you buy the LS400?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, because it's only available from. Okay, so we'll talk about this in a little bit, but I did sell my Toyota Celsior.
Yeah, this is perfect replica of your Celsior.
I know,
I was
and
trying to segue to that.
So okay, my very first diecast model car was from Exotic Car.
Mhm.
Was that the
Yeah,
Exotic Car?
it was a catalog, and they had 2 stores.
Yeah. So not to date ourselves, but like this was like a mail order catalog.
Yes.
We could call in, and I think I had my mom call in, and
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why. I think because then I was into normie cars as well when I was like 10 or something.
It's so weird.
Yeah, and so like out of all the cars in this like 30, 40, 50 page catalog, I told my mom I wanted the LS400. And so actually there is a connection to that because I'd never heard of Lexus before. My uncle had bought one, a chestnut brown I think it was a 1990 LS400 around that era. Like I think it was maybe in 92, and I was obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ordered this, and it was a Maisto, and it was really shitty. But as a kid, I didn't know that, and it was amazing, and I destroyed it like I did all of my other die-casts when I was a kid by putting it on a treadmill and seeing how fast I could make it go, and then it would just melt off
Yeah,
the wheels.
probably faster than a real LS400.
I think so, yeah. That was not a fast car. So yes, they have one now, and I think it's not yet released, but it's the best one that I've seen so far. But it's on eBay, and of course, any diecast on eBay is like overpriced.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna wait until it is widely available, and I'll get it because I want one to commemorate the ownership of the car that I had.
Yeah,
So
and now it's gone.
and now it's gone.
And I drove you all over town.
You did, but wait,
Gathering up shock absorbers
you
left
did.
and right.
Yeah.
Also, I shot photos of it, which were so effective at selling the car that they weren't even
They didn't even have to be
posted.
released.
They
Yeah.
weren't even posted.
Yeah. Side note, though,
Yes.
just to complete the conversation that you were just talking about, unfortunately, I have like 3 other model cars in addition to the pre-order one that I think will be arriving
Oh my
within the
goodness.
month's end.
Wow.
Next month's end.
Okay.
So, someone help me, please. I don't want any more model cars. I had like 3 model cars just a little over a year ago, and I don't know
Wow.
what happened.
Yeah.
I
that's
got
crazy.
bored, and then over the pandemic, and then all of a sudden, here we are. I have 30 plus models. It doesn't look hoardery yet. Well, maybe. Anyways,
Yeah.
there are more 911s, so I don't know if you can call that hoardery. It's just kind of collecting. It's kind of a Pokemon collect them all situation.
Yeah, it's
so-
not really hoarding. It's like an addiction.
Yeah, there's a 964 Club Sport with a sliding plexiglass window.
What?
Yeah,
What?
it's pretty cool.
So what is the 964 Club Sport? Is that the one that's like it looks like the RS but has a spoiler?
Yes, it has a spoiler, and it's
So
like
it looks like an RS America, but it's like a real RS.
Yes.
Plus
plus
minus.
plus. Yeah,
Plus minus weight.
actually
Yeah.
track like car. So I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some other 911s of various sorts.
Oh, wonderful.
So and an E30 Touring, which I missed out on the first time. So this is an E30 Touring M-Tech 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll be cool, and an Audi All-Road.
Yeah.
I said a lot. I said there were multiple 911s. There are only one. There's only one
Okay.
more. It's a bunch of other wagons.
Yes.
I couldn't help it because those are cool cars, and I
Wait, is the S4 a wagon?
no,
Oh, okay.
no, that's a sedan.
I like that as a sedan.
Yeah, the All-Road. Of course, they only made one in a wagon, but I loved those when they first came out, and this is like the first like pre-LCI one. So
Ooh.
with the it has the good wheels from the V8. They're like two-piece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They don't look like they honestly like they were a two-piece, but they were so subtle as a two-piece. Like they were like minuscule bolts on each of the five spokes, like two per five spoke at the ends, and that was it. I feel like if you're gonna go all on board with the two spoke, it's gotta have like it's gotta be bedazzled with like rivets. But anyways, yes. So the real life car, the Toyota Celsior, sold. I had not even planned on. I had talked about selling it maybe for the last year, but I didn't. I wasn't really serious about it, and then all of a sudden, I got kind of serious about it, and I cleaned it up a little bit. It was already fairly clean to begin with, but I hadn't used it much in the last year, and I couldn't actually foresee a use for it going forward. I was kind of, I took it to like Radwood, and I took it to like some of the car meets around here, where it was kind of fun
Yeah.
having it, and it was kind of that is probably the one car that I've had that was the most that created the most spectacle
Yeah.
out of any car that I've ever owned. And it was just because, one, yes, because of the right-hand drive, but two, because it was a recognizable car
Yeah.
that you would see as a U.S. market car. But it had the backseat stuff and had a cloth interior, and it was just like weird.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing, I mean, it was like a perfect showroom 1992 car that was immaculate, but
Yeah.
because it was black, it was actively degrading at all times.
Ugh.
So it's like
It was so
it's
hard.
Not, it's not even like a car like that you could just let it get dirty and still enjoy it. Like kind
Yeah.
of for you,
It
the
had to be
thrill of it
perfect.
was that
Yeah.
it was like glossy, like deep black and perfectly immaculate and clean and sparkling at all times.
and that car had like just acres and acres of paint to keep clean. It was
Yeah.
just so hard. I had it like paint corrected and ceramic coated, and even then, it was just like a pain in the ass to keep up. So, I do plan on going to like car events soon enough, and Radwoods, when they come around, and or if we fly out to one. But I don't know. I think the car's run its course. I thought that was maybe a car that I would keep for the long term. And you remember when I bought it? Like, I was so excited to get it because I
Yeah.
had been kind of peripherally looking for one for years.
It
and
was
then,
such a chance
I
thing
know.
because we went to look at another car. It was like a Mercedes at Shinku Classics.
Yeah,
and then
124.
They had this Celsior that wasn't even cleaned up. It was like had just arrived. It wasn't even on the website.
Yeah.
And you were like, you had mentioned it, and they showed it to us.
I
and
literally said-
it was just what you wanted.
I literally said, like, I don't think this 124 is for me. I'd been looking for a Celsior, but I'll only buy one if it has, like, the backseat stuff. And the guy was like, oh, well, we just got one in, literally fresh off the boat. And it was exactly that. A Celsior Type C F package.
Yeah.
With reclining and massaging rear seats.
And I went with you to look at it, and then I went with you to pick it up.
Yeah.
And then we drove back like on the full length of Westheimer.
We did because I didn't have a toll tag yet, and I was practicing driving right-hand drive.
That's true, yeah.
Semi-long distance for the first time ever.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Like, you must have test driven it, and I don't even remember that.
You weren't there for that actually.
Oh, okay.
Our
did you
friend
go with
David
David?
Buer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I went with him because he was
so you
actually the
went-
reason why I bought one because
Right.
he is a LS430 enthusiast, and in specific the UL ones. So with the backseat packages, but they're very modern.
Ultra luxury.
Yeah, the ultra luxury, if you will. So, and also, by the way, as a side note, that is probably one of the best normcore cars that you can buy for like less than $10,000. Like, if you don't care about like a performance oriented or whatever, like if you just want like a sensory deprivation style driving experience, that is the best car because you can buy one with 150,000 miles on it with these like crazy features, reclining and massaging rear seats, and it costs nothing basically. So anyways, he'd been hot on these for a while, and he'd owned like 4 of them.
Plus, the V8 probably has like some of the later like VVTi
Yeah.
stuff and tech.
Yeah.
know?
So it's more modern. It's obviously a lot quicker and etc. And they unfortunately have air suspension, which is a whole nother conversation. But because the Celsior had air suspension, air suspension that it functioned. I was always so nervous that it was going to not function one day.
Nervous enough to buy 5 spare shock absorbers?
Yes.
Okay.
They didn't make them anymore.
Yes.
And new old stock was like 1,200 a corner. So,
Hmm.
anyways, or I could have gone the reasonable route, and what everyone did was just convert them to springs for like $600. But I don't give up. So
Yes.
I will destroy my life keeping a car perfectly period correct if I can. Anyways, so David was the one who inspired me to get this car. Not that he encouraged me to get a Celsior, but I started looking into it, and I had no idea the Celsior had like this cool variant over in Japan. And then I just went down this rabbit hole, and then I found one locally. And again, yeah, 30 at the time it had 35,000 miles on it. The paint was a little bit swirl mark. It wasn't faded. It was heavy on the swirl mark, and so it was not like deep black. But the paint correction fixed that completely, and it was
Yeah, it
like
was beautiful.
mirror finish.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and it was fun. And I like, oddly enough, this was owning a dream car in a way. I mean, like the LS400 was never like a true dream car, but it was something that fascinated me as like a youth.
Yeah.
I think just because I fell in love with the story even then as a kid, and it just seemed like this, I don't know what, like it was just like the unbreakable perfect car, just car, normal car. It was not a supercar, it was not like anything truly that fancy, but anyways, yeah, it was just kind of fulfilling that in a completely offbeat way.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I hadn't used it very often in the last year, and I kind of want to do different things now with different cars. So
Yeah, it was just causing you stress in the last year because it was just like
it was
you were
just
paying
sitting
to insure
there.
it, and for a long time you were paying to store it, and it's just degrading.
Yeah,
And like it's enjoyable sometimes, but it's also a stress when it's like it's not here.
I
It's
am
just
not
another thing
good.
out there to worry
I've
about.
learned about this. We talked about this too, where I've discovered I am not good at owning multiple cars. Like it's not, to me, it's not like owning multiple jackets where you just pull one out whenever you feel like it. It feels weird to me if I don't use a car. Like I can't just shelve something and you know, I'll just be fine with it. I have to like, so that car, I started it up like at least every 2 weeks, but I couldn't do anything with it. I just like started it up, maybe ran it around the block, charged the battery, etc., and that was it. And it seemed like such a waste to me.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, I ended up listing it just casually. In fact, I didn't even take any pictures of it initially. I just posted it on Craigslist, which I was recommended not to do, and eBay, which was a pain in the ass to do for a car that does not have a US VIN. In fact, I do want to speak about this for just 1 second. Like, selling any car on eBay is such a pain in the ass because while there are people behind the service, you cannot contact anyone. So they canceled my first listing because I didn't mention that the VIN that I entered. So I just had to enter in all zeros because it wouldn't accept the Japanese VIN. So I just said in the listing, like, oh, it has a Japanese VIN, so I just listed all zeros. So eBay canceled my first listing saying, oh, you didn't list the actual VIN in the
Did
thing.
you have to pay to list it on eBay or not if it
Yes,
doesn't
it was
sell?
$55.
Okay.
And so they canceled. Okay, fair enough. Like, the real VIN is legitimate, but they just completely deleted it. They wouldn't even let me just add it.
Edit, like go back and
And it took me a long time to put together this
that
stupid
sucks.
listing. And then so I did it again, and it lasted for a week, and it got like 500 views in that week. And then I got another email from eBay that said, you have a misleading title. It says LS400 in your title, and you've listed this as a Toyota.
Wow.
And I wanted to appeal this because I wasn't like doing the sneaky like SEO thing. It's literally an LS400.
Yeah.
And so, but at that point, it had literally sold that day, and I was like, forget about it. And then I got charged for that listing, so fine, fair enough, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was so frustrating. There's just like no way to appeal it. Like it's either you fit these requirements or you don't, and they delete it, and you deal with it, I guess. I also listed it on Facebook Marketplace, which
How did that go?
was a mistake.
Yeah.
even though that seems to be like the preferred way that people are buying used cars
That's
nowadays.
so gross.
I know. And then so you helped me shoot some photos because ultimately I thought I was going to put it up for auction on Rad for Sale. Art from DWA and Radwood and Rad for Sale had
Former
reached
guest.
out, former guest. And so I was hot on doing that. I took like some videos and like we were preparing for like hundreds of photos. Like this thing was going to be well presented. And before we could do any of that, in fact, the last day that we had shot it, I got basically I was contacted by someone who first of all, okay, Craigslist was also not a positive experience either because I got a lot of interesting trade offers, and now I completely understand why people list. I've never so when I list cars for sale, they sell really quickly, and I think it's because I'm making a mistake by pricing them too low because I have like seller's guilt, like, oh,
We've covered this, yes.
there's this like mark on the undercarriage that you can't see. It's an inch wide. I think you should discount it by 50%. So they sell usually within the first week. This car also sold within the first week. But in between that, for this car in particular, for whatever reason, it was literally like, so I have this tree. It's potted. I don't know if you might be interested. I could potentially consider cash on top. Or like
It
this
might be fruit bearing.
three-wheeled motorcycle, or this like I mean, it was a little bit more related than that, but like nothing appealing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're reaching, but like, oh my
Right.
God, uh, like I wish I had gotten like I would have maybe considered like something interesting.
When I listed my 350Z, I got an offer for a Wrangler.
Okay.
It
I
was
mean,
not,
while not ideal
it's
for
not
you,
like something I considered.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
yeah, that is.
But I was actually
I don't know.
I was actually like, this is actually shot really well. And he's like, yeah, my sister's a photographer.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's cool.
I have to say,
but
like,
still no.
lifestyle for lifestyle, though. Like, I could kind of see that, like, being.
Yeah, I mean, it's not out of the question.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
it's not preposterous. It was just not for me.
I did actually get, like, I think a three-wheeled motorcycle as an offer, and like a partially completed modded FRS.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was partially. It had the missing bumper look.
Oh, I hate that.
So I don't actually know if it was partially completed, partially modified, or if it was just like modified and this was it. Anyways, I was interested in none of these things, to say the least. And I was not interested in payments, which I'm again surprised that people were like, "Do you accept payments?"
Yeah.
I don't know who would accept, like, me and you,
Yeah.
both strangers. I will trust that you will pay me the entirety of the car over a period of years. Like, okay.
Right.
Anyway, long story short, someone contacted me and mentioned that they had a 93 LS400 that had blown essentially a head gasket or something along those lines. Oh no, it was a seized engine. And that was very specific, so I didn't think it was a scammer, or if it was, a very sophisticated one. And I talked to him a little bit, and he was like, oh yeah, he had just bought the car, and it just hadn't been maintained, and it was an unexpected, like, engine seizure. And we chatted for a bit, and he seemed knowledgeable about this, like, particular engine, the 1UZ. And we kept talking. We met up, like, a couple of days later. He was extremely knowledgeable, actually, about it, which put me at ease. Because, again, I have this dumb seller's guilt where I'm like, oh, I hope they know about these potential problems that the cars could eventually have. Not that it has it now, but, like, if I sold, like, a 996, I'd be like, oh, my God, I'm going to wring my hands. Like, what if they don't know about IMS? And then it blows up, and then, it ruins their lives. I did that with the GTI, where it has the chain tensioner issue, where it could blow up and then seize the engine. And I was so afraid of selling it to some college student who didn't know about it and it was going to blow up. So I ended up selling it to like a CarMax equivalent, stupidly. But the guy like knew about like various things, including like the ECU, which has melting capacitors, like at some point he's gonna maybe need to replace it, and he knew about like
The starter motor.
the starter motor that's in the V. He knew like about basically all the failure points of the car, and that just for whatever reason put me really at ease. That he knew what was going on. So I sold the car. It was a super easy transaction, and I I think it could have probably gone for a little bit more at auction, especially in this kind of like weird like time that we're living in with like used cars.
Yeah.
Even though this was more of a niche interest car, I think it probably would have done better at auction. But it was such an easy transaction. I am glad that it was not as stressful as it would have been if I had actually put it at auction and then had to watch people pick it apart and or like whatever. So
Right. That would have been tough.
yeah, but arguably that was probably one of the best examples of a UCF 10/11 in the United States. I honestly believe that. Like, I took such good care of that car, and the ones that sold for like 25 to 40% more, or they were being listed for like almost that much
Other
more.
Celsiors.
Yeah, at retail locations. Like, first of all, I don't know if they actually sell for that much, but this car was so much better than that. So neither here nor there. It's
Yeah.
gone. I needed to move on one way
Yeah.
or another. So
Yeah, you got the number you were happy with.
Yeah,
and
I got my asking.
And he got a fair price, and you got what you wanted.
yeah, and he immediately sent me pictures of the car, and he had put SC430 monoblocks on it.
It's a good look.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
I would not have done that just because I wanted to keep everything like bone stock, but like it looks good. Like it actually looks like a 126 Mercedes, which was
Yeah.
the intent.
Yeah,
So no, it looked good.
it looks good.
Yeah. So
That's exciting.
Celsior is gone, and I've already started like hunting for like what might fill that void. Even though actually a 2-car garage for a
Two cars-
1-person household,
Yeah,
honestly, it works so much better. Like
yeah.
I-
Especially because your lineup, you've got like your classic car, a sports car. Like classic car is a sports car, and you
Yeah.
have a utility car that's also a fast car.
yeah, both of them very needy. So
Yes.
but this is where I was headed. I knew this is where I was headed. Like all the math was leading me here. Like I was gonna end up with like another like finicky daily driver instead of like the unbreakable car.
Right.
So
Right.
that's fine. It's fine. The E63 has already had like various needs. To be fair, I knew those needs going in, but
Wait, are you gonna mention the gun or no?
no, I don't think I will. Just in
Okay.
case.
All right.
Let me just put it this way. I was. We don't have to. Okay. It's Texas. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It
Here's
doesn't
what
matter.
happened. It's Texas. I should not have been surprised, and it is very legal here. But I had, once we had completed the transaction, I went to clear out the last pieces of things in the car, which was basically just paperwork in the glove box. And the new owner had already put his belongings in the car. And so when I went to the glove box to get out the like insurance paperwork and whatever else, I had to move the new owner's gun out of the way to get the paperwork out of the glove box.
I like how you said way.
Yes.
I wonder if that's gonna be like an adjustment, like drawing from the left side, drawing from the
It's-
glove box on the left side versus a drawing from a normal size.
Hard to say.
Glove box on the right side.
Hard
of the
to
car.
say, really.
know.
Actually, now that Texas,
If someone were a
actually,
left-handed shooter,
Texas is now a non-permit open carry state, so you just put it on the dashboard and you'll be fine.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So problem solved. That actually happened, I think, just after the car was sold. So, yeah.
To be on the indulging end of touching a handgun by
I'll be honest,
accident.
it's just because like I still looked at it like it was my car, and so
Yeah.
it was weird opening up the glove box and seeing a firearm covering up like my old paperwork.
Yeah.
So that was the only kind of alarming. You don't want to. That's the other thing too. You just don't want to touch someone else's firearm, and so it was just kind of like a very strange thing. Anyways, so car sold, positive experience. Super nice guy who bought it. On to the next. The E63 has already had needs, one of which I actually, so I am obsessive to the point of like, I think you've decided to almost unfriend me multiple times. Because I will relay to you all of my
Almost?
hand wringing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I should buy this car because on page 63 of the forums, people say that sunroof leaks.
Yep. So, one thing that I did not realize this car suffered from W212s and other Mercedes of this era and just before is that the wiring harnesses, engine wiring harnesses, can act as straws to transmit oil to the ECU.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
Yes.
I'm not what you'd call an engineering expert.
Yes.
ECU,
Yes.
it's like electrons and stuff. Like
Yes.
stuff goes through the wires. Into
Electricity.
Electricity.
Yes.
Signals.
If you will.
Not oil. That's not normal.
Well, in theory.
Is that not a normal part of the oil cooling process? Does it perhaps
It's hard
go
to
through
say.
the ECU for cooling, like a
Yes.
heat exchanger, a heat and data exchanger, basically a modem for oil?
If you will. And maybe electricity needs lubrication. And
Sure. Yeah.
it just happened to be that it went a little too far and then floods ECUs.
So this is a thing.
Yes. So the flaw
Okay.
in this car, and this is across V6s, V8s, and various other models. So what happens is from the camshaft sensors, which are exposed to oil, the seals fail over time, and somehow oil begins to be introduced into the wiring, and through capillary action gets forced through the wiring harness wires and ends up in the ECU. And this is over years, but if left untouched, it will flood the ECU to the point of failure, and you can literally empty it out in, like, you will, pour it, tilt it to its side, and oil will pour out. And I cannot believe this is a thing. This is a new way. They have invented a new way for a car to fail. So it's not catastrophic in the sense that, like, the car, is unrepairable or you have to rebuild the engine, but you do have to replace the engine wiring harness and the ECU, which at OEM prices can total up to like $9,000. I think it can be done for a lot less than that, like through either used parts or whatever. But anyways, that's insane.
That is very unusual.
Yes, like I have never in my
Yeah, it
wildest.
is a failure mode that I
It's
could
like your
not
house
conceive.
flooding because like water was forced through your electric wire, or like the electric wires through your house. Like this
Yes.
is insane.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, I had done the research to the point where I was like, okay, this engine basically doesn't have any catastrophic failure points. I just didn't consider that there would be other, like, not catastrophic, they were major, I guess you could call that, because that's it still would be expensive one way or another to replace the wiring harness and ECU, even if it was like with used parts.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's a ton of labor to
Yeah.
get in there because you gotta like go everywhere.
You have to go everywhere.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing some preventative maintenance. The Indy that I went to suggested that I replace the camshaft sensor, so I did. And that was not inexpensive, but it wasn't the worst. So unfortunately, they said that this is likely not a permanent solution because it's the same part as before. So it's just a matter of routine maintenance and keeping an eye on the ECU if there's ever any oil in it. So there's that.
Is there a dipstick for the ECU?
Yes, you remove it or open it up and dip your finger in it, I guess. So
Okay. All right.
yeah. So we'll see. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I don't think it'll be a problem. I don't know if this is like pervasive through every single car this happens, but it seems to happen enough on the forums.
I mean,
It's just like
shouldn't-
IMS.
But you shouldn't have to. I mean, like the car's at 70,000 miles, right?
Mhm.
Hasn't happened yet. You've done
Right.
preventative fix. It should be good for a little while.
Yeah, they found. So what prompted this was they found a little bit of oil in the connectors for the camshaft sensors. So
Oh.
yeah, they basically have spotted the cancer,
Okay.
and they've cut out as much of it as they could, and hope that it has not or cleaned it out, not cut it out, and hopefully it won't be spreading.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. We'll see.
It's good as new.
Thank God I didn't buy a brand new car with a warranty, because I think we talked about this the last time, but as it turns out, I thought that I had secured a warranty with this car, but
Oh, right. Last
shortly
time, I think-
after, yeah, when I called in just to alert the warranty company that I might be filing a claim soon for these camshaft sensors, whether or not they would have covered them, I don't know. But it turns out, and I had not signed the warranty contract yet, so they are in the clear for this. They said, "Oh, this is an AMG. We didn't realize that, despite me calling in, verifying the VIN 4 times. Do you cover this? Are you sure you cover this?" And they said yes, or the representative said yes.
Because you skated by, like they had a mileage limit that was like 75,000,
Yep.
and they had a year limit, and
Yep.
this was all within
It
just
was
barely.
all within just barely, and they said yes, your car is covered. And I
Which
was
was
like,
apparently discretionary. It's
yeah,
not written in the fine print.
it is apparently not in the. To be fair, like they excluded specifically.
They excluded lots of other cars.
other
Any
cars.
BMW.
Any V12 BMW, any like 7 Series, and they excluded a lot of Mercedes models, but specifically, not broadly, like they didn't say any AMG. They like excluded specifically the CL55 and 63 AMG for some reason. But they didn't exclude this one, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Here's a loophole." And I thought I was skating through on this loophole, and then, yeah, I didn't file a claim. I nearly filed a claim when it raised a flag. I bet you there was a light that said an AMG owner has slipped through, like button down the hatches. So they kicked me off of that. Actually, they just didn't follow through with the contract.
I see.
So that's fine. This was not like conditional to me buying the car, but I was just like, I was looking forward to like having some stupid bills paid out, like
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, again, not a lot can go wrong, but the problem is that over time things will go wrong
Yeah.
and they will add up.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that is that.
We went for a drive
We
last
did.
weekend. We
Yeah.
filmed a video that we'll link to maybe,
Yes.
but about the exhaust on
Very
my car.
cinematic. It was part of the trailer for capturing the machine.
Well, I did a video about the exhaust specifically.
Oh yeah.
And so we got some footage with the drone. We got
Yep.
some footage of flybys and whatnot.
Explain the exhaust one more time.
Okay,
Recap.
well, so it's so the car has SSI heat exchangers, which is basically headers, but on an air-cooled car, they have they play a role in the heating function. So there's like there's more pipes basically. So the car has had SSI heat exchangers for 2 years now, almost, or a year and a half, and it's made by Dansk. And Dansk made the muffler that came with that. And so with these headers, you have to get a different muffler. You can't use the stock muffler or anything because it's 2 in now to this muffler. So the Dansk muffler was fine. It sounded okay. The car wasn't too loud or anything, but I heard the M and K when I drove that Sportomatic.
Yeah.
1969 911.
What a combination too! Like this
Oh,
rebuilt
it's
motor
so weird. It's
in
like-
a Sportomatic of all cars.
It's so weird. But I mean, the muffler is not that crazy on that car
Yeah.
because it is like a 2-liter. But the geometry, like the basically the exhaust is very similar. Like the heat exchanger setup is extremely similar on that car to the SSIs.
Yeah.
Because the SSIs are basically, they are modeled the SSIs are modeled after the pre-emissions 911s, like the pre-74 911s, but they're just made of better material. So they basically, in the 74, they gummed up everything to make it worse.
Yeah.
And so the sound is like pretty similar to that, but it's 3 liters, so it's different.
It is. It sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Throaty.
So the M&K it's a volume increase. I keep saying it's only like 10% louder, and then the next time I'll say it's about 15% louder.
You've
Then
had the
it's
range.
It's got to be 25% louder.
You've had the range.
I've had the range.
That Bisimoto was
was loud.
Loud. That was a
Bisimoto was
megaphone.
loud. This one is not too crazy. I mean, it does idle pretty loud, and it gets loud, but it doesn't cruise too loud or anything. I don't know. It is still probably 20% louder than the Donsk muffler, but I mean, it's just a smaller muffler.
Yeah.
And it's so Jordan put it on. It's nicely finished, like stainless steel. Looks stock. I mean, the tip looks stock. It's only when you look up close that you see that it's a different muffler. But yeah, it sounds really just like it has so much character.
It does.
It changes. Pitch changes at like the last
it doesn't just get louder.
It doesn't just get louder. It gets like higher and crazy. And then when I couldn't capture it in the video, but when it reflects off something like a barrier or something or another car, it just sounds crazier and not even just louder. It just it's cool. So
and it has authentic pops and crackles. We're so used to today's day and age, like the ECU, like creating these pops and crackles.
Yeah, it pops. The nice thing is, if you have the windows up, you don't really hear it. If you if your foot, if you touch the throttle, you say you're driving, say you are coming from a light, you rev it up and you scream up to 45 miles an hour, and then you just lift off and it'll just like pop like crazy. But then if you just rest your foot on the pedal, not even applying any pressure, it just won't. It just doesn't do that. So you have a lot of control over the sound.
It's good.
It's good. So we recorded a video. Unfortunately, we have to drive an hour outside of the city to get somewhere where you can just park and do a bunch of fast runs on a road and set up camera and not get hassled and not run into people or traffic or whatever. But it was fun. We did a short drive with, well, I guess it ended up being a long day, but we did a drive with my friend Dave, former guest, and his friend
Dave
Robert.
In his 981.
Yes, yeah.
And I forget his friend's name.
Robert had a SC400 race car.
Yeah, it had a Supra turbo engine, 5-speed.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was I thought it was the super turbo transmission, but I thought it was still the V8.
I thought it was the full. No, I thought it was a full swap. Maybe I could be very wrong. I assumed as much. We were talking about it, and I thought he had done like a full swap.
I don't know, but yeah, he uses that as his track car. He's someone that I know him. I know both of them a little bit. I know Dave well, but I know him a little bit from like track days.
Yep.
Many years ago now, 9 years ago, but
we went out to Fayetteville. And stopped for lunch, where I jokingly told the server, because you had gone to the restroom.
No, I had gone to my car.
You gone to your car.
Sunshade. Covercraft.
Yeah.
Always by the best.
Of course.
Covercraft. Trademark.
Covercraft. Yeah, we need to do a commercial. I know. And so you'd gone, and we'd all ordered just like waters and iced teas or whatever. And I said, I think he'll have a whiskey. And then she came back with a whiskey.
It was 12:02 p.m.
It's 12:02 p.m. She came back with a tall whiskey.
Yeah.
And she came back and said, "Oh yeah, I wasn't joking about this." Or she said, I don't joke about whiskey. And so she brought it, and then Kevin and I shot it. We split it and shot it. And then I thought it was because it was actually a joke. I thought it was on the house, but we then got a bill for it, so it was fine.
Wow, you ordered a drink and then got billed for it. What are the odds?
I don't know. Oh, anyways, so we went out and we drove. You took the
AMG.
I took the E63.
Hustling it, because there was time. I was leading the four of us because I had picked this route. And you were right behind me. There was times where you were I would come out of the corner. I felt like I would come out of the corner quickly, and you would be right behind me. I mean, obviously your car is much, much, much faster in a straight line, but the fact that you were pushing it.
Yeah. So I took that car on this drive mainly because, it's going to be the rare occasion that I'm going to take this on a fast driving excursion and fast-ish driving excursion. And it was fun because this is the first time I actually kind of wrung it out a little bit, and it sounds great, of course. And this is where you can actually kind of utilize the power to some extent. It is. I'm still like kind of familiarizing myself with the car, so I didn't want to push it like too much, especially just knowing that this car, like the power can overcome like the chassis, and it could prove dangerous, especially if I hit the wrong modes and turn off the wrong things. So I was reining it back a little bit. But I joked this morning when we met up with our friend Tom for coffee that, like, don't be mistaken, this car feels exactly as big as it is. And was a slight exaggeration. The car actually did shrink around you just a little bit. Like when you put it in all of like the tightest modes, it does actually handle a lot better than you think it would for a car of its heft and actual physical size. Like it doesn't have a lot of body roll,
Yeah.
especially if you put it on like the most bone breaking like damper mode. And the only thing that I think is
Where the seats going? The active
seats.
seats?
I had the active bolsters going and
Ooh,
everything.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So power was never, for want. Like that was fine. But the thing that kind of let me down a little bit was the transmission. I kind of knew this going in anyways, though. It's the MCT speed shift transmission and AMGs. So this is before the 9-speed one, which 9 speed I can't even imagine like managing that amount of gears if you're actively trying to shift through them by hand or manually. So it's just not smooth. It reminds me of an SMG. So it's a multi-clutch transmission, but it's essentially a conventional transmission. So it replaces the torque converter with this multi-clutch pack, and it's kind of slow. It's slow-ish relative to other performance transmissions, but the thing that is bad about it is that it doesn't always let you do what you want. So you put it fully manual, you put it in manual mode, and sometimes when you want to downshift, it won't. And you can just keep clicking away the paddle and it won't do anything. And I assume this may be self-preservation, but or maybe it's just bad programming. I really don't know. But there are times where it's like, oh, I want to downshift now because I want to prepare for like this corner or whatever, and it just won't do it. And I thought that was such a letdown. I mean, it's fine. Like this is not a car that I'm going to be
Yeah.
using aggressively anyways. So that was kind of weird, and I assume this would be the same for any AMG of that same era. I mean, we were talking about the ridiculousness that some people will track, like this car in particular, like use, what was it we were talking about the other day? Oh yeah, so what it was, I had some concerns about like the longevity of this transmission because it was so like rough shifting sometimes. But it's just the way that the transmission behaves. And so I was on the forums, and this one guy was like, "Oh, I need a transmission rebuild at 40K," and I was like, "Oh my god, like this is terrible news." Like I thought this might be, the long conversation to like, "Oh no, this is a bad car to own." But it turns out what it was is the guy tracked a 212 E63, and he tracked it. He said that basically 28,000 of those 40,000 miles were track miles, which
That's
is insane.
crazy.
That he would take this heavy boat, and I think he had a sedan, but still a heavy boat,
Yeah.
to track regularly. I mean, if he was doing 20,000 miles track miles, that's a lot of tracking.
That's a
So
lot of tracking.
yeah, and I don't even think a C63, maybe a black, but like a normal one, I don't think that would be like that good on the track, honestly. So that was interesting. Anyways, it's a seemingly durable transmission if you keep up with maintenance, but it's just not satisfying as a automated. It's not an automated manual, I should say. It's just not a satisfying automatic transmission. It's aggressive. That's about it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I wonder if it would just be better if you just left it in auto, but in the most aggressive mode. And
I think
just said,
so.
Just figure this out. I mean, obviously, on the newer systems, like automatic mode is usually best. But
Yeah.
I know this is like
I
a
think-
very transitional time where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it was smarter than first gen
It's-
SMG, but not.
The aggressiveness comes from it trying to be quick, and I think
Yeah.
that's the problem. Where like there are just points where like man, it's such a rough like downshift or even upshift sometimes where I think it's just trying to be quick and react and try to predict what you're doing, and it just stumbles a little bit. So it's not great, but it's fine. It like for like day to day, just kind of like semi-aggressive driving, it's fine. And the manual mode, I think, is really more for holding shifts, so you can actually hear. I mean, I don't think this is actually what it's for, but it's what I think I'm going to end up using it for. Is when I want to actually hear the exhaust, I'll just like use manual mode to like hold revs so that I can actually hear
So
it.
this is because this was contemporary with the M5 that is so bland it doesn't even have a generation name.
Yeah,
they didn't
this is
give it
not
a
the
name.
E60
It's really
V8.
weird. It's like they didn't even give it a name, but it's contemporary to that M5,
Yeah.
which was infamously the first one with noise speakers, exhaust speakers.
Yep.
So there was none of that. I mean, I know that that's become more commonplace. I know that's a thing. I know it's
Yeah.
like whatever. It's
But this one wasn't good. No one loved it ever. I don't think. Like this one suffered from like heavy oil consumption.
that M5.
That M5. The
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm
10.
saying that the.
Is it 10?
We may never know.
We pride ourselves in not knowing
There's not really
anything
a way-
past
there's not a way to know.
E90s.
There's not a way to know.
Yeah, but
No, but that like I'm just saying this was contemporary with that M5 that
It would
had
be.
the speakers,
yeah,
and this doesn't have any kind of fake sound piped in,
does not have anything fake piped in. No,
so you still hear it.
I still hear it.
Interesting.
It's quieter than a 6.2. So
Yeah.
the previous engine configuration, same body style, not in the wagon. The wagon was only offered in the 5.5, but so it's a little bit quieter than I thought it was going to be, just from like puttering around. But it does get loud when you get on it, so I appreciate that, and I do appreciate that
The
it isn't.
startup.
Yeah, the startup is nice, and
Yeah.
it's mostly extremely honest in presentation.
Yeah, no,
So-
that's great.
Yeah, so and it's kind of the last of that because the ones after that
Yeah.
are not quite as good. At least, I mean,
Yeah. They put
in
two
our-
2-liter inline 4 turbos into the hood.
Yeah,
which
one in
is an
front, one in the
interesting
back.
Strategy.
yeah, as that goes.
You get a pair of 2-liter inline 4s.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about the Lisa thing?
Oh yeah. So well, because it's only fun to talk about for 1 second because this is like finally like our useless knowledge has some practical use.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
a good point. So my sister-in-law, Lisa, Laura's sister, who we lived with at one point after Harvey, she has a Touareg right now,
Yes. A
She-
first gen facelift.
first-gen facelift Touareg, and she came to me and was like, I want to buy... She had it in her head, she wanted an E90.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want a 3 Series. And
I
she's
don't know
sending
why.
me listings.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, hold on. What are you doing? She has like a small budget. She wants a car. She wants something like she used to have a 987 Boxster.
She did
So she
for
had
a
car.
year.
She had it for a year. And
It was the
the most
lottery.
insane Porsche ownership experience ever because I mean she did lose a little bit of money on the sale because versus what she paid because she bought it from a dealer,
Yeah.
sold it. Like I sold it and there was some more
She
imperfections.
per today's pricing, like she got a steal. She bought it for 15 with 50,000 miles. 987 .1 base.
05.
Manual.
Yeah.
05 manual. No maintenance done to it, to be fair, or that was on record at least.
It didn't have any paperwork.
Yeah. But that car for $15,000
Yeah.
today is a steal.
Yeah.
Because especially because of the used car bubble, all this and that. But
Yeah, I think I sold it for like 13.5
oh
or
my
13.9.
God. Today, I would even be like, I would just buy that for like to own it for a second and then sell it.
It was a good car, but anyway, so she had that. She loved it, but she had some life things, get
Yeah.
in the way. Anyway, so she was like, I want a 3 Series. And I was like, hold on, you don't want a 3 Series. And I told her, I was like, first of all, they're not made very well. Like
Yeah.
the E90 is just not, like you are going to have maintenance things that are going to suck.
Yeah.
And it is not a worthy experience befitting these things. Like, for example, you had the oil pan gasket, which on any car is like $300
If that
with
even.
labor, if
Yeah.
that. But on an E90, it's $1,000 unless it's all-wheel drive.
It was like $1,200.
Because you have to take off part of the subframe, or you have to take off the subframe to get to it. It's all, everything's stupid. That's like representative of everything.
Yeah.
So I said, do not get a 3 Series. I said, you should get, and this was your thinking, because I was not thinking, she should get an IS 350 or an IS 250 and like a second gen
IS.
And just have like mostly a similar driving experience. Like she was going to get an automatic anyway because she might have a long commute, and and it's made better. It's gonna last. The parts are cheaper. The labor, you're not gonna have to fix as much.
That is the thing. Is that because I don't know what her actual drivers for wanting an E93 series was, but unless you're just absolutely enthusiastic about having that particular car, it doesn't make sense, because a 328i is an extremely normal car from a driving experience, especially in auto.
You always say this as a pejorative, and I don't really think that's a bad thing, but I don't think that's quite true. I don't think that's quite true, because here's the thing.
I just say it's not a pejorative. It's rather, it's the best normal car driving experience.
No, it's not. You are not.
It is. No, it's true. No. Well, because I say this because, backgrounder, if you have not followed along with the story, I've had 2 E90s, one a 330i in 06, and then I had both of them manual, and a 328i wagon. And I sold the wagon after 2 years, even though it was like, again, a dream car to own, or bucket list, whatever you want to call it. I sold it because it just ended up being extremely a normal driving experience. It was the best normal car driving experience, meaning that it was fine. There was never anything for one if you just wanted a normal car driving experience. It was manual. It was an okay manual. Power was okay. Everything was just okay.
Okay, I don't really agree, but so she immediately sends me a listing, and it's an ES 350 or something.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, this is not the right car. This is different.
Front wheel drive, Camry based.
That is a normal car driving experience. A rear wheel drive sports sedan is an elevated experience over that.
I said a good. Oh, I didn't say good, but I meant to say a good normal car driving experience. The best. That's what I meant by best. Normal car driving experiences, and it won't leave you for what it is. It just won't give you any more than that. Meaning that the lore.
Okay, but everything is inherently better than an Avalon.
Yeah. I mean, you're comparing these to a front wheel drive, unbreakable, Camry based
car. A normal car
is a normal car driving experience, but the best one would be if you had a rear wheel drive automatic.
All right, we're in semantics.
Whatever,
stupid.
Doesn't matter. Anyways, we're just saying
shut up. So
we're just saying long story short is that you should not own, if you don't have enthusiasm, if you don't care that it's rear wheel drive, if you don't care that it's an inline six, you don't care
Okay, this is stupid. I'm not done.
If you don't care about those things, I have to squeeze this in, because if you don't care about those things, you should just not buy a BMW, because you will not enjoy the ownership experience.
Like how you should not buy an F31.
Sure. No.
You should not buy an F31.
No,
if you're going to get a 2-liter 4-cylinder all-wheel drive automatic, you could buy then you could buy anything.
That's the wagon next. So that's the wagon next gen.
We'll get into this. We'll retouch on this. I have something to say. I have an announcement.
Go on.
So she sends me some list. I was like, no, you don't want the ES. That's not what I promised.
It's a nicer Camry.
Yeah. Later gens are a nicer Avalon. It's fine. It's semantics. So, so she sends me another one. I was like, this is pretty rough. She sent me another one, and I was like, okay. And I'm like, what you need to do is make sure. I was like, first of all, see if they've done the maintenance or whatever. But above all, for her, make sure that the AC is ice cold and perfect. Because if you have to replace a condenser, it's $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever it was that I recently paid. And the owner will always tell you it's ice cold. So you have to verify that. Yep. So I was like, make sure the AC is good. She looked at one at Katie or whatever. So then she's looking. And again, I am half paying attention to these texts that are coming in.
Yeah.
And I did not get to a bunch. And she's like, well, they're for whatever reason, used cars are less expensive on the coasts. So she's looking at she's looking at $8,000 cars in the coast. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to spend $1,500 to like,
Yeah.
get it here. And once all this shit is done, like it's going to be annoying.
And you can't see it. And you should. If a car costs less than $10,000,
You should see it.
You should see it.
Yeah. So anyway, I was running errands on like Wednesday. I was driving around, did not see my phone for a while. And she's like, well, I found one. Oh, and we reached an agreement and I'm getting this one. And I was like, what the hell? And it was an IS250 in Chicago.
Okay.
And it is red. It looks
Matador
good.
red.
It looks great,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah.
It's got like the interior looks really good. The exterior looks really good.
Okay.
Headlights are crystal clear. Is
it an all-wheel drive?
No, it's I don't think so. It's
Okay.
an IS250. And yeah, it looks good.
Okay.
So I think it's getting here Monday. So
Oh, shit.
we shall see. So
I'm glad that she went that way.
I am too.
Because even if that was the worst, well, not the worst, but like even if it was a IS 250 with needs, it's better than a 328i with needs. Honestly,
right. And I think it's gonna drive like it will drive like a sporty, engaging sedan.
Yeah, it's rear-wheel drive, wider rear track. Like it, that is the better option for someone who.
I have not driven. I think I've only driven the F of that generation.
Yeah.
But they got the steering so right on the IS300. I would think that like it is still good.
Yeah. Even if it was like slightly numb, like it's still hydraulic and it should be a decent driving experience.
Yeah.
For someone who is like, is not sitting there waiting for like the feels to happen. I think it like would provide just enough sensation.
I think so.
And it comes with, okay, let's put it this way. The Lexus was a better value proposition in period too, because like a base 328i comes with absolutely nothing.
No.
Like it comes with leatherette, which is fine. I actually kind of like the leatherette, but it doesn't have like keyless go, which the IS comes with standard. It doesn't have like I don't know if she has nav, but the nav screen is kind of nice.
This one, she listed the things. It is like fully loaded.
Okay.
Like it has everything.
Heated and cooled seats, which like is rare sometimes on like the base model 3 Series cars, but you can't even get cooled seats. So that's one of these things where I think it sounds like she might have been looking for like a slightly more luxurious experience. And so the Lexus is better at that.
I think it's better. It's just better as a car. It's better as an experience. Like I would have one of those.
Yeah. If you were an automotive enthusiast looking for that type of, or a mild automotive enthusiast who wanted you get a manual, 6-speed manual. To be fair, it is a manual from a Tacoma, but a manual nonetheless.
Lotus Evora Heritage.
Yeah, yeah.
Same one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'm so glad that she got that, and that's good. That's a good color. I actually like Lexus reds.
It's a
Matador
nice red. It's a nice red. Like I looked at it, like the bumper didn't have like rock chips or anything. I mean, it might have been repainted, but it matches. Like the pictures I saw, I was like, it looks good.
That's good.
So the shipper sent her a picture of it, on the truck and everything. So it's coming here Monday. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know if she's gonna bring it over, but I want to see it.
Okay. We'll arrange this.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your input.
Yeah.
Because you helped.
I basically said do not buy
any 90.
3 Series. Yeah. Oh my god.
No, I was not going to let her make that mistake.
No. But returning to perhaps what might be our final topic of the night.
Oh no.
The F31 is fine.
Ugh.
So the F31 is the wagon and of the 3 Series generation following the E90. Here's the thing. I don't like that generation.
Right.
I don't hate it, though, but I don't like it, as in, I don't know that I really
We came onto this topic because we were talking because there have been weirdly expensive E91s that are not good specs. Like, automatic or all-wheel drive.
Automatic
or both.
XI E90s.
On Bring a Trailer selling for
like 20 grand.
High dollars.
Yeah.
And you said, I would just rather have an F31.
Yep. And I still hold strong to that.
I would just rather have like a Subaru than an F31.
No.
Like I don't really like
a Subaru is not a nice place to be. I know people will argue with that, but like honestly, at the very least, I will say like the F31, like you can get it. I mean, especially if you don't get like a super base model, like I think it's a nicer place to be. I think the power delivery.
But that is a normal car. Okay, maybe not a Subaru. Maybe depends. I don't know.
For a 2-liter
I would rather have any E90 than an F31. Like the
maybe.
whole draw of the BMW thing is the straight six.
Yeah, you know what puts me why I shift this perspective like at that point is that if you're gonna get like an all-wheel drive 328 XI in an auto, first of all, like Stiptronic is terrible. It's just like, you know, 6-speed auto. You might as well go for the next gen ZF 8-speed. I think it's going to be just a better driving experience.
Yeah, you want that ZF 8-speed to really put down the power from the 2-liter 4.
Yeah.
2-liter turbocharged 4.
It's just going to be more gas efficient. I think it will be quicker, and not just because of the ZF transmission.
Especially
but,
when you add the burble tune.
Yeah. But it
So
will
the
just have
farty
much more
upshifts.
modern tech for the same price that these E90 like blah wagons are going for. I think you're just gonna get, because what are you going to get out of an E90 base model auto XI wagon? Like, I don't think you're gonna get a lot out of it.
Okay, but that's not going to cost as much as an F31.
No, an F31 right now, like if you look for the cheapest one right now, they're going for less than $15,000. So that means that they are far cheaper than E90s. And while I am a fan of like hydraulic steering and like an inline six, let's be honest, like you're not really gonna ring out.
It's not a matter
that
of ringing
particular
out. It's just a
car.
matter of quality of life. That is
Eh.
that is an NVH thing.
Eh,
An inline six is an NVH thing. An inline six is just a nice thing to have at any rev,
It's
at
a
any
nice thing,
speed,
but
at
it's-
any trip.
it's a nice thing, but like unless you're gonna use it to feel it, like puttering around town, you're really not gonna feel that much of a difference, in my opinion.
It's not about power. It's just about the delivery. It's just about the experience. You will feel it.
I don't know that you're gonna feel it. Like, well, I've driven both, and I don't know that you're gonna feel the difference. In fact, when it comes down to it, you're likely gonna buy that for a daily driver. And as a daily driving experience, I think a base model for base model, an F31 is a little bit better. Not materiality wise. Like I think it actually gets worse in the F31, but like at least you get like standard like Bluetooth audio, and you get like standard like whatever reverse camera, and like well actually you don't get keyless go as a standard thing
That's a
because
sticking point. Do you get halogens?
yeah, you get halogens.
Of course.
But I think there are just some like nicer features in there as a daily driver, and if it will still have some of the dynamics, it's still rear biased, even if it is if it's all-wheel drive.
Yeah,
as
the
a
F31
default.
is all in America is all-wheel drive only and
Yes.
inline 4 only.
Yes, the inline 4 is the 2-liter
And automatic
turbocharged,
only, of course.
and yeah, is not ideal. But I think as a daily driving experience, that's probably going to be slightly more not engaging,
but
but
if you're
rather.
getting a BMW that has no BMW qualities, why not just get
I agree.
anything else?
I agree. If that's the point, like, why buy an XI Auto E90 to begin with? I think you might as well just buy anything else at that point. If you're going to spend $20,000 on a car, that is not the car to get. And this coming from someone who was like all about an E91, but I think the threshold is 6-speed XI, fine. Auto XI, I don't know what the point is.
For auto rear-wheel drive.
Maybe, because I considered that for 1 second. But XI, unless you're living in a northern climate where you just absolutely think you need it, like
Yeah.
emphasis on think. I don't know.
Not going to help you in Houston if your car's underwater.
Yeah, it didn't help that. Yeah.
All that traction.
Oh God. Anyways, I think that might be an episode. So.
Some might say.
Some might say. Thanks for listening. Do follow us on Instagram at New496, Twitter all the same,
Yes.
and Gmail us if you really must.
Yeah, don't do that.
We're not going to release that. So.
Yeah, don't do that. It'll be in the thing. And check out my YouTube. Check out Chris's Instagram. Check out my Instagram.
If you will.
All of that. Don't look at our tweets, please.
No, those are very bad.
No.
Controversial.
Yeah.
We're not going to protect them, though. They are public.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Goodbye.